JP Koster is a platinum presidential with Manatech. Most of you guys should know JP. And the youngest platinum in the world is also a $1 million club earner, one of the best leaders in the industry, in my opinion, without a doubt, globally. So, JP, great to have you with us tonight. And, thank you very much for taking out some of your time to share with us just in terms of events. Thank you so much.
Awesome, Gary. Great to be on the call. Thanks for hosting me this evening. And just before I start, I just want to thank Phil and Princely, my upline bronze presidential. Also a massive shout out to Louis and Leonie van Linde, 2-star platinums.
James, I think let's get straight into it. Obviously tonight we're going to be chatting around events and the power of events. Now, just for interest's sake, you've been in Manatech for just over 10 years. Do you know the amount of super regional events that you actually attended during your network marketing career?
Wow, that's a great question. So Gary, I would probably say in the beginning, when I just started with Manatech back in 2008, 2009, I didn't attend the Joburg Super Regionals, but I would probably say, I've attended 8 Super Regionals a year now for the last sort of 10 years, so probably very close to 90, between 90 and probably 100 Super Regional events I've been to. And I think the important thing about that is that, you can you never know it all, like I still go to events and I get so inspired by new leaders that are rank advancing, and I think for me, no man's an island or woman, so you still learn as you grow, and my experience just in the last sort of 10 years has been that I can't guarantee that people are going to become presidential or even platinum presidential $1 million club members, but I can without a doubt definitely share with everyone that if you are not at events, I can guarantee that you're not going to make it, because it's just, our business is very much about statistics and it's about showing up. And it's just that when you attend an event, it just gives you such a head start over the rest of the people that aren't there, because you're inspired, you get to connect with all the other leaders at the event, you get to hear other stories. And I think for me, it's almost like, it's like, all of us have got cell phones, we live in a very millennial age, so it's almost like, just getting your batteries charged again. And, so I mean, I for me, it's all about events. I mean, especially this event specifically that we, the Super Regional event with Dr. Nugent, because I've said to my entire group, if you're not at that event, like you're gonna put your whole business. It's gonna take a whole year to recover from not being at that event, because I mean that's where you hear the new products that are being launched. You hear about, all of us know this. I mean, we're in a product business. I mean, you need to know your product. So I mean, it'd be sort of like wanting to play for the Springboks, but, telling Rassie Rasmus I'm not going to pitch up for the captain's run on a Friday, because I can just watch it online, or maybe someone can send me a WhatsApp, or a video, maybe just a WhatsApp video recording about what it was all about. It's it doesn't work that way. It's unfortunately, and actually fortunately, you can guarantee your success by just showing up at the events.
James, now you mentioned just showing up at the events, which, sounds all good and well, but I mean, I know for a fact that there are a whole bunch of brand new people on this call tonight, people that might have just gotten started yesterday for that matter. Now, what would your approach be in terms of explaining the magnitude of these events for someone who just got started, who might not know a lot about Manatech or the opportunity? How would you go about explaining or trying to get these brand new people to the event? Because as we all know, if you haven't experienced it yourself, sometimes it's quite difficult to explain that to someone.
100%, Gary. I mean, I will never forget my first Super Regionals I ever attended, and I'm sure Leonie is listening somewhere and heard Louis, but my first event that was going to take place, and I'm not sure if many of the callers this evening would know that, but obviously my family's been involved in horse racing for a very long time, and I remember the first Super Regionals, or one of the first Super Regionals I attended when Dr. Nugent was here. We had the J&B Met on, which is like a big horse race in Cape Town, and it's quite a big day for us and our family. And I remember Leonie, me saying to Leonie, I'm not going to be able to make the event. It's been planned even before I even got involved in Manatech. And I remember her just saying to me, why don't you just attend one of the sessions? And I think for me, that's just such a important leadership principle is just realizing, just get people to buy into a little bit of it, because I think if they buy into a little bit of it, they'll see the bigger picture eventually, because it can become very frustrating for us as leaders when people don't show up. But we also got to realize that they don't know what they don't know, because they haven't been there, they haven't experienced it, they haven't been there with their new team and realizing the value of it. So I think for me, specifically this event that's taking place in November, like especially with Dr. Nugent, it's one of those events that can really accelerate people's businesses so much, and that's why it's so important to, even if you can just get someone to one event, just get them to see the bigger picture. It's one thing going to opportunity meetings and seeing 10 or 20 or 30 or 50 people at an event, but when you get to an event and there's over 1,000 people, I mean, that's what really inspires people, where they realize, wow, this is bigger than what than I ever imagined, So, and I'll never forget that from Leonie, just getting me to attend one of the sessions, and eventually I think I ended up attending two. I wasn't at the whole day, but it gave me that slight glimpse of the bigger picture about, it's not just me and Leonie and Louis building the business, there's more to it than that, and I think, especially with Dr. Nugent, this is a man that's, been literally offered up his whole life to make a massive impact in the world, and I think when he's here, I mean, it's just from a respect point of view, I mean, if you're going to be in a business where you're selling a product, I mean, you need to know your product, you need to know what it's all about, like what value this product can add to other people, and I think, just the feedback from a lot of the leaders, especially the new leaders that have attended their first event in Cape Town this last weekend, just the messages, and just saying, how people were just saying to me, I'm so glad that you were there, I'm so glad that that I attended, I learned so much, it's given me so much belief in the product, I feel I can go and share this so confidently with other people. So for me, you can never ever underestimate the value of seeing the bigger picture. And I might have shared this with some of you, but probably most of you don't know this, but probably about 2 years ago, I attended a conference, a network marketing conference in Amsterdam, and I'll never forget the one speaker, because it made me relate so much back to what we do. He was sharing, he's the CEO of another network marketing company, and he was saying they were going through their statistics of their company, and that for instance, in their company, they had their level was called Pro 14. Doesn't matter what it means, but let's assume that that's presidential in Manatech, because the principle still applies. They statistically could work out that people that attended an event were 8 times more likely to achieve that level, so that level of presidential, than the people that didn't. So you're giving yourself an 8 times better chance of going presidential if you attend. Now, I'm not saying to everyone that you go to the event you're going to go presidential. There's still going to be a lot of hard work and so forth. But I mean, for me, it just epitomizes what we do, because when I look in the room, I see all the top income earners at the event. I see all the the people whose businesses are growing the fastest at the event. So you, unfortunately, you have to make an effort to be there, and because that's where you get to see the bigger picture. So I hope that answers your question, Gary. But I'm very passionate about events. I've traveled all over the world to attend events. So it always amazes me how I will fly all the way to America to go to attend events, and someone won't drive like 1 hour from Cape Town to come to Super Regionals with Dr. Nugent. It's just crazy, But I guess, it's because I don't see the bigger picture. I mean, for me, this has always been something where this is an opportunity for me to change my life, And I think if you find those people that really, really got a massive dream, they'll make the effort to be there. And if they don't make the effort, then it's just because they don't really understand it yet, or because you didn't explain it well enough, or you didn't promote it well enough. I mean, events is where that's the engine room of our whole business.
I couldn't agree with you more, James. I mean, just in terms of how inspired Shemaine and I are after this weekend, Dr. Nugent's story during the evening session, and you mentioning, of course, the fact that we have somebody of his caliber as part of this company, and hearing from him firsthand, what he had to go through and the commitment levels that he's made just to Manatech. Definitely, I can see how it can grow your business 8 times, like you mentioned the statistics do, because you're just 8 times more inspired, So I think what we would also like to hear from you is that with regards to the South African market specifically, we know that we've experienced 129% growth this year. Things are really exploding. Lots and lots of excitement. And I, for one, have definitely picked up that our event attendance has also grown quite considerably. You know, I mean, what do you think makes us so different? What do you think make our events so different? Because people might be saying, well, I've attended events before. I've attended corporate events. I've attended, maybe an event for my company. But I know that there's something about our leadership that's just really, it's just different. We just seem to raise the bar every single event. But what, in your opinion, is that difference?
Well, Gary, I think what separates us from the entire industry, specifically Manatech South Africa, and just looking at our market that we're working in now, because I mean we can't control what's happening in South Korea or in Canada or in Australia or any of the other markets. But for me, I think the one thing that I love about Manatech is because you don't need a fancy car, you don't need a fancy house, you just need a fancy work ethic and a massive heart. And I think when I come to the Manatech events, I see average, ordinary people with a massive passion to help other people, where they're sharing authentically their stories. And I think for me, it's just about being real. Like it's like this whole thing of we've got real products, we've got real passion, and we've got real people. People that are that have got so many. That all of us have walked so many different. We're all working a different path, if I can if I could call it that. And I think for me, Manatech's just a company that's got so much authenticity, and it's people that are just got a massive heart for other people. And I think you experience that at these events because as much as we sometimes tend to think that it's all about the training and who the speaker is and what they say, it's not really about that. It's about how you feel. It's about how you feel when you leave that event. It's about it's not just about the actual event. It's about what happens after the event. It's what happens in the break. When you are walking out of your first session and you're walking to have a cup of coffee and you bump into some of the leaders. You bump into Silwan, you bump into Louis Leone, you bump into all the other leaders, and you have a quick chat. And I think for me, it's all of us, just to feel part of something. We're all, I mean, human beings don't need much. We need, we need a roof over our head. We need food, we need food to eat, food in our bellies or whatever. And I think most people want to feel that they're part of something, and I think these events are sort of the team huddle where we all come together. It's this massive bonfire that we're all sort of building, and you can either be one of those people that are really adding wood to that fire, or you can be the person that's judging the fire from the outside and saying, well, it could have been bigger, or it could have been hotter or whatever. And I think for me, that's what I love about these events, is that it doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. It's something where everyone can feel part of it, and they can feel that they're making a positive contribution in the community. And that's what really for me, and I've said this to so many of the leaders in my group, there's so many different network marketing companies you could join. I mean, there's thousands of network marketing companies, but I mean, for me, it's like when I just feel like Manatech for me is home, because we don't show up with Ferraris and Aston Martins and all these, trying to impress people on things that we can buy. We impress people by how we make them feel, and I think for me that's ultimately what makes people stay. Is that it's not about the car you drive, it's not about the house you live in. It's about how you make people feel when they're at an event, and in fact not just at the event, just at the opportunity meetings, when you're going out to show the plan the first time, when you are prospecting someone. It's much bigger than just these nouveau riche sort of things that very often in our industry can become very it can very often cloud the brain, where people think, oh no, but this is, it could be better out there. At the end of the day, our business is all about mindset. You can change the car you drive, you can change the house you live in, you can change your network marketing company, but if you don't change your mindset, and you can only change your mindset if you change your feeling and how you feel about something. And I think for me with Manatech, it's when people come to these events, they realize that people that are Manatech are really genuine, kind, nice, hearted people. And I think for me, that's what separates us in the whole industry. It's not hype. It's just real and authentic. And I love that part about our company. It makes me proud to be part of what we do.
That's awesome. James, in terms of associates, as you know, many people on this call, associates building their business, promoting this event for Saturday. In terms of a game plan and a strategy, perhaps, little bit of advice from your side as a platinum as to how to go about, this entire week. What's the kind of activity that you would be doing leading into the Super Regionals?
So I obviously can't share for other leaders what they teach in their groups, but I think for me, something that at least for me, what I feel is very important to do over the next sort of 3-4 days, I think, is to reach out to people that you know that are in that area and reach out to them and obviously share with them a little bit about why you're passionate about what you're doing and a little bit about Manatech, and sort of use the Super Regional event as sort of a second exposure for people you're speaking to right now, because I think also very often people try and get people to the Super Regional event, but when people don't know the vision of the company and know the heart of the company, it's very few people out there, unless you're speaking to thousands of people, are going to just leave everything that they have on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning and go to an event. So I think for me, what I would do this week is I would strategically be sitting down and saying, okay, who are the 3 or 4 people I could speak to this week that I know that if they did get involved in Manatech, that could be of massive value to the company and of massive, they could make a massive contribution. And then reaching out to them and saying to them, share your story, try and get on a Zoom call or even on a call them or whatever, and chat to them a little bit about your experience and seeing if they're open. And if they're open, I would say to them, the one thing I can suggest, we've got an incredible doctor that's going to be here this weekend, sharing a little bit about why he's part of this company, and you could obviously share the credentials or whatever, but and so listen, why don't you just come check it out, even if it's just one session or whatever. And I would probably make sure that if I wasn't there personally, to probably get someone on my upline to meet with that person, after the first session or second session or whatever, because you want that person to feel they sort of feel welcome, and someone that can answer their questions and so forth. So that's probably my game plan over the next 3-4 days. I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's Cape Town, or Joburg. It's the same thing if you had people in London. We've got the European Super Regionals taking place next week in the UK. So I would do exactly the same thing. All of us know people living in the UK. All of us know people living in Australia. All of us know people living in Canada or America. So it's just to build that relationship with people and make sure that they, let them know what you're doing, see if they're open, because that's really what we're doing. Is we're trying to see if people are open to have a look at what we're doing, and don't share with people the facts about the company. Share with people your story about why you're doing this and why you feel this is a great vehicle for you and your family. And that would be my game plan over the next few days.
Jake, thank you so much for your time tonight. I think we'll leave it at that. Leave a bit of value for the people leading into this weekend. We know that you're going to be there as well, sharing some insights. So, guys, super, super exciting. Thank you so much for being on this call tonight. JP, thank you once again that you took out the time to share your thoughts on this event. And we'll see you guys on Saturday in Joburg, Midrand at the Gallagher Estate. It's going to be exciting. So promote big. Have a blessed evening, and we'll see you there.
Gary, one more quick thing. Can you maybe just read out the webinar ID? I'm not sure I can always do it as well. But for those of you that are on the call this evening, the event ID is 409 051 05661. So I'll just read it again. If you can't see it on my screen, you're supposed to be seeing it on my screen, but if you're not, then I'll just read it again. So it's 409 051 05661. So just for your lead team app, for those of you on the lead team app, just you could log your being on the webinar. And Gary, thank you very much for hosting the call this evening. And I'm not sure, I don't think Gary mentioned this, but Dr. Nugent did launch a new product in Cape Town. I'm not sure if it's coming to Joburg. I think it might only be for Cape Town. It's going to be launching next year. So, but maybe I think Darren did send a message to me earlier to say there's a massive attendance at the Joburg Super Regionals. They definitely will consider launching it in Joburg as well. So make sure that you and all your team attend on the weekends for that awesome event you're going to be at. So cool, awesome. Thank you, guys.